Oh, but they're all dark-skinned people. They're all Negroes. Okay? Where would you likely find the dumbest person in the world? Africa. How about the smartest person in the world? Africa.
How about the Egyptians?
The
From
Europeans did not look for people smarter than they were. Okay? And to this day, where they find evidence where that might have been the case, you have people saying aliens did it. Egypt is, of course, in Africa.
Yeah.
A brilliant civilization. Oh my gosh.
Hello everybody, welcome once again to AfriPost. I hope wherever you're watching us from, you're doing good. As a black person, I believe that each and every one of us should really be happy and be very overjoyed because of being black. You know, many people have tried to put this dark skin as something that really makes us be lesser human beings. But science has for many times proven them wrong. There have been studies that have shown that the black race has a lot of uniqueness in it that really makes it awesome to study and even understand. There is this engagement between Neil deGrasse Tyson and Joe Rogan, where they were talking about the superiority between the races that we have. And Neil deGrasse Tyson was kind of saying that the black race is very superior to the other races. And in fact, as it has been shown, the black race has a lot of diversity in it that really makes it interesting to study. I want us to listen to this podcast and understand what they were talking about, because as it seems, Joe Rogan was really perplexed and he could not understand how things are turning out here. Please listen to it and then let's react to it after the video. Kindly watch.
Let me leave you with some thoughts here.
Okay, please do.
There's a section here on race and color, which is another thing with the variation of what we have in the world. Just a point I want to make. When European anthropologists started running through Africa and started describing what they saw, their urge was to say, everyone in Africa is this thing, and they have dark skin, woolly hair, and that is a thing. And they called it a race, and they called it the Negroes, okay? And this is our attempt to classify into few categories something that might actually, in real life, be on a spectrum. We know that the human species began in Africa. And everybody who populates everywhere else in the world came out of Africa to do that. What that tells you is that the genetic diversity within Africa as the origin of our species is greater than it is between any other two people anywhere else in the world. But because the anthropologists were not thinking genetic diversity, they're thinking skin color. They put them all in one bin. But if you have the most genetic diversity, then in practically every way humans vary, you would find the extreme of that in the African continent. Where would you find the tallest people in the world? Watusi tribe of Africa. How about the shortest people in the world?
Pygmies.
The Pygmies. Not even that far away.
Right.
Geographically. They have the same skin color, so the Europeans said these are one group of people, one race. Where might you find the slowest people in the world? Well, no one looks for them. Where would you find, there's no races to find the slowest people. How about the fastest people? Africa. Okay? People of African descent have dominated the long distance as well as the sprint, two completely different physical abilities. Oh, but they're all dark-skinned people. They're all Negroes. Okay? Where would you likely find the dumbest person in the world? Africa. How about the smartest person in the world? Africa.
How about the Egyptians?
The Europeans did not look for people smarter than they were. Okay? And to this day, where they find evidence where that might have been the case, you have people saying aliens did it. Egypt is, of course, in Africa.
Yeah.
A brilliant civilization. Oh my gosh. While Europeans were still either disemboweling heretics or whatever the hell they were doing, it was even before that, thousands of years ago. So my point is, if you don't look for it, and you don't find it, and you're going to create a map of humans of the world, you're going to put yourself at the top. That's what you're going to do. And you're going to write things like this. Who do you want to hear from? Thomas Jefferson or Francis Galton?
Jefferson.
Jefferson, 1785. Speaking of the Negroes, comparing them by their faculties of memory, reason, and imagination, it appears to me that in memory, they are equal to the whites. In reason, much inferior, as I think one could scarcely be found capable of tracing and comprehending the investigations of Euclid. And in imagination, they are dull, tasteless, and anomalous.
What is Euclid?
I honestly don't know how many Euclid-fluent white people Jefferson knew in the original American colonies. Euclid invented geometry. Okay, Euclidean geometry is ancient Greece. And his books still exist to this day. So he's saying the black slaves don't know Euclid, can't figure out Euclid.
Well, they haven't been educated.
Well, regardless,
The whole
how
thing is
many
so
how many
ridiculous.
white farmers in 1785 USA
Also.
knew Euclid?
Yeah,
No.
zero.
Okay. Okay. But whatever were his observations and objections to black people, he had no hesitation continually mating with at least one of them, producing 6 children. So you know what I did here? Then there's a guy who wrote a whole book comparing black people and white people, a book that was used into the 1960s. It was called The Origin of Races by Carlton Kuhn. He wrote, if Africa was the cradle of mankind, which he recognizes, it was only an indifferent kindergarten. Europe and Asia were our principal schools. So these are people putting themselves at the top. He's white, so he's got to put white people at the top. Then I thought, suppose anthropologists were black racists instead of white racists. What would they write? What would they come up with?
Well, also what he's saying is ridiculous because if it's kindergarten, how did they do the pyramids? It's the most complex structures ever known to man.
Hold on. So
But we can't reproduce today.
no, it's,
All of it's ridiculous.
my only point is, when you have that mindset and you have to put yourself at the top, and all people with dark skin are one entity, you're not looking for people smarter than you. You're not. There's other evidence here. Do you realize that the people who get the highest scores on standardized tests in England are people, immigrants from the Igbo tribe in Nigeria? And their kids outscore all the quote native white people in the town. If you're not looking for them, you're not finding them. It just doesn't. It's a thing. It's all here in this chapter, and all I'm doing is bringing science to it. That's all I'm doing here.
Now, after watching that clip, aren't you proud to be African? Aren't you proud to be a black person? That is why in many cases here, we've always said that as an African American or anybody who has the black skin, wherever you are located in this world, you should be proud of yourself. You know, the world has really created a situation whereby we feel less human because we are hated, everything bad is associated with us. Even the biblical connotation of things, Satan is depicted as a black person. So this really makes us to be worried about where we are as a people. Dark things are considered to be the bad things, and white things are considered to be good. So this is just a mental activity. This is just a mental conditioning that has been used to really create and criticize Africans or even black people to feel less human, as it were. But just as Neil deGrasse Tyson has shown, this is a very important thing to understand. The black race is superior in many aspects because even when it comes to diversity, it is the most diverse race. If you look at its genetics, it has different people. For example, what is just showing, you find that in America, if you look at the races that we have, the 100 meters races, the relays and everything, those who really win and dominate these are black people. That shows you that their genetics is superior. Look at those who dominate long races, mostly the Africans from East Africa, the long distance runners like Eliud Kipchoge. These are people who really are formed genetically to run in that race. Look at people who also work towards different races here in different competitions, you'd note that those who lead the pack in these kind of competitions are black. So the black race has a genetic makeup that is very diverse and very complicated. And if you compare it to other European nations or even other races, black race is more diverse than any other race that exists. Neil Tyson is even showing that if you look at the shortest and the tallest people, they all come from Africa because of the genetic makeup that we have here. So it is very important as a black person, appreciate the person that you are. Understand that you are the beginning of humanity, because as we know it, science has said that the cradle of mankind is in Africa. So we as a people have our beginning in Africa. Whether you're white, whether you're black, whether you're brown, whatever color of skin that you have, your source is in Africa. I don't know what to think about this. If you're a black person who has really been dejected and feels less superior in this world, what does this clip really show you? It tells you that you are somebody who is very important and is somebody who is a rare commodity. You are somebody who is very important, and we should not take the negative connotations that we get from whites to really judge ourselves or even categorize ourselves into lesser human beings. Please give me your comment down in the comment section. If you have not subscribed to this channel, remember to subscribe, like this video, and also share. Thank you, and may the good Lord bless you. Goodbye.